Hola muchachos. Welcome. For today's video, I am going to do another, hold on a second. Actually, no, it doesn't matter. It's fine. I'm going to do another video where I list things off. I kind of just love videos of people being like, things I blank, 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 blank. Because I think it's interesting. It kind of feels like a podcast format, and I just like hearing people's personal opinions and like experiences. Today is no different. I'm going to be sharing with you guys a bunch of things I do not let my kids do. I don't want this video to come off as, I don't let my kids do these things. You let your kids do these things? Pfft. Bad parent. Absolutely not at all. I want this video to just be kind of cool and interesting to listen to. If you're a parent and you do let your kids do these things, I'm not labeling you as bad or someone that I wouldn't get along with. I just think we're all different. I think we're all raised different, and I think we all have different kids. So we as parents really navigate this whole area of parenting our kids differently, and I think that's really cool. So there's gonna be some things you're gonna hear and go like, really? You don't let your kids do that? And some things you go, oh yeah, I'd never let my kids do that either. I hope everyone can kind of just find this video interesting. So thank you for joining me, and we're gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, first thing. I don't let my kids paint their nails. I have two girls and a son. My son, he has no interest in painting his nails, but for my girls, there's a little bit of an interest. Whenever I paint my nails, they really want to see like what I'm doing, what color, all that stuff. And I was raised to not have painted nails until I was 14. Growing up, nail polish and that whole kind of fake nail thing was really kind of in the same category as makeup. Now, granted, I realize makeup you put on your face, it can kind of alter your face or bring out certain things in your face, and nail polish is literally just for your hands. So there is a disconnect, I totally get that, but I was raised to just not have it done as a child. And I think the main reason for that was even back in the 1990s, kids were growing up really fast. Today is no different. Today is worse, okay? I see the memes of like, how I dressed as a 15-year-old versus how 15-year-olds now dress, and I'm like, what is happening? Do I think all that stuff was brought on by people letting their children paint their nails? No. I think a lot of that was just brought on by social media and such. But I think because my mom raised me, that nail polish was something I did when I was a little bit older. That's just kind of what I want to give to my girls as well. I think little girls having painted fingernails, personally, I don't really think it's cute. I don't really think it looks good. I also think little girls are just, they're busy with their hands and it gets messed up, and I know they're little girls, but I still like my little girls looking a certain way, and bright blue sparkly chip nail polish I don't think looks really nice on my little girls, so I don't want to do that for them. And I think it's good for my girls to look at me paint my nails and for me to tell them this is something you get to look forward to when you're older, and they think that's so cool. But when I was 14 and my sister, she was like 13-ish or something, my mom kind of had a girls' night and she sat down with us at the table, and I remember her putting our fingers into like soapy bubble water, showing us how to take care of like our cuticles and our fingernails and how to paint them. And it was special, and I don't feel like I missed out on having my nails painted sooner than that. And I didn't even get my nails really done or painted until I was more like 18 or 19. That's when I enjoyed it more. Speaking of, I would love to do my nails right now. But yeah, just a personal preference thing. They actually do have empty nail polish bottles that I'll fill up with water, and they'll pretend that they're doing it because they can pretend. They can pretend they work at Sephora, they can pretend they work at a restaurant, they can pretend they do all this stuff. Pretending is absolutely fantastic. Personal preference thing, everyone's different with that. I'm out of breath, but we're gonna keep talking next. I don't let my kids wear mature clothing. High heels, two-piece swimsuit, bikini top, cheeky bottoms, short skirts, short dresses, clothing that's maybe totally modest, but it just kind of has a sexy element to it that I'm like, Again, I just feel like kids are growing up so fast. I want to put my kid in something that just, makes them look good because you can dress your kid modestly and they can look great. Something that they're comfortable in. I don't think my girls would be comfortable in high heels. Something they can move around in and they're still staying modest and happy and they can move around freely and not feel like their clothes are falling off or things are being shown. I spent most of my childhood in like a tunic dress and leggings, and I was thrilled and a full-on happy kid. And that's what my kids are doing right now. They love the pants, they love the t-shirts, full coverage. I just don't feel like I need certain items in their wardrobe that are a little bit more mature or fancy, because I don't think it really does anything for them look-wise, and I just don't think it's comfortable for them, so I stay away from that kind of stuff. Next, and this is more like the parent situation, avoid learning opportunities. Most kids want to learn. They have that natural inclination to be like, how does this work? Why does this work? Let's talk about it more. And it's us as parents that can, honestly, we are flippin' tired individuals. And sometimes we just don't want to talk. We don't want to elaborate on things, but I try my best. And Kieran, my husband, he's so good at this. If kids have a question, we answer it, we talk about it, and we turn everything, almost everything, into a learning opportunity, from breakfast to when we go on a walk and we see something on the sidewalk. This is a learning opportunity, guys. Speaking of, we saw a cigarette butt on the sidewalk like a week ago. One of my kids picks it up and I talk about like, hey, don't pick up trash. If it's trash, don't pick it up. But also let's talk about cigarettes, why people do cigarettes and why they're bad for you. Your kids are young, but they can know about certain things. And I think it's good for you to have those conversations, but learning opportunities are so easy to avoid, but they're so good to tackle and to create that kind of conversation with your kids. I think it's good for their mental growth, their character growth. It's just a way to raise, honestly, really smart little individuals. Next, I do not let my kids behave wrongly and get no discipline for it. Now, let's first conquer this word discipline. A lot of people hear the word discipline and think physical punishment. No. The word discipline actually comes from the root word disciple, which pretty much is like someone underneath someone else who is just really teaching them and speaking into their hearts and directing them towards a good path. For example, one of my kids hit someone. One of my kids is at a park and he or she hit somebody intentionally. There's a difference between intention and accident. This happened intentionally. It didn't actually, but we're just speaking hypothetically. I would not just let it slide, because guess what? There's a kid that's hurt. The other mom probably saw it. She wants some action done on my part, and I don't want to raise a kid like that who thinks it's okay for them to hit other people. So something such as loss of privileges, a timeout, just verbal talking to, this is important. And again, it's like the learning opportunities. It's so easy to let it slide. It's so easy just to be like, whatever, I'm not going to talk about it or bring it up, but you need to, because your kid needs you to. Your future kid needs you to. I find timeouts are so awesome. Timeouts gives your kid the chance to calm down, to think about what they did, to relax a bit, and then they are easier for us to approach and talk to. I love a solid timeout for my kids. Depending on their age, it could be 30 seconds, it could be 5 minutes, it could be 10 minutes, but I don't want to see my kid doing something intentionally wrong and just let it slide because it's easy. I really want to train my kids to do good and also seize that learning opportunity and talk about what they can do next time, and also talk about what I expect from them next time. Next, I do not let my kids watch copious amounts of TV. On an average weekday, the kids don't watch movies. They can watch a short TV show like Little Einsteins or Backyardigans or Donut Man, but I don't like my kids to watch copious amounts of TV. I think for us personally, it's unneeded. My kids are really good at entertaining themselves, and I think it's because from the get-go, the kids watched little to no TV. So TV, even though I would say it is a part of their daily routine because they know at a certain time they get to sit down and watch something, it's not extremely essential. It's not a huge amount of time, and they still have easy ways to entertain themselves. If I ask my kids, do you want to go play outside or watch TV? They'd be like, we want to go play outside. It's not like I'm training my kids to not like TV, but to limit it because it's not supposed to be their main source of happiness and entertainment and the only time they're allowed to be quiet. TV, for the kids, is something they can enjoy. I enjoy a good TV show as well, but I don't let my kids watch a ton of TV, and honestly, I'm very, very thankful that they don't like watching a ton of TV either. Next, listen to music that talks about sex, it has profanities, swearing, or other elements that I just wouldn't want my kids to copy or reenact. Our kids are sponges, and the things that they soak up, totally weird. It's like, I literally listened to that song 2 years ago. How are you now singing it and remembered that it has an S word in it? I thought they said ship, like a ship on the ocean. Nope, they didn't. They said the other word. So I was like, oh, can't listen to this with the kids. I thought they were talking about a sailboat. Definitely not. I'm pretty hard of hearing sometimes. But then my kids will just suddenly remember it, and I'm like, the music I listen to with my kids is 90% of the time Christian music, and the rest of the time it's either like kids music or it's music that is neither Christian nor is, I would say, bad, but just a song. It doesn't talk about sex or anything. It just talks about what I'm trying to think of a song. Like Nat King Cole. Love Nat King Cole, but he doesn't talk about like gross stuff. Ella Fitzgerald, you know, like that realm. Just kids soak stuff up. Kids are crazy. Kids are so crazy. The things that they remember, the things they bring up, it's insane. So there's music that I used to listen to that honestly would have the occasional swear word, or they would talk about intimacy. I don't listen to it anymore. I don't play it anymore. Honestly, it wasn't even really good for me in the first place. Oh, this is a good one. Something I do not let my kids do is excuse themselves from the table, just in general, on their own, but also before everyone else is finished. And this is mostly a dinner time kind of rule, because at dinner time, we all sit down at the table at the same time. We all eat together. That's also sometimes for breakfast and lunch, but it's always dinner. Very typical for dinner. So when the kids are done eating, they need to say thank you to me for the meal, because I bet you I'm the one who prepared it, and then ask Kieran, who's like the head of the house, to be excused. This doesn't just go for at our house, but when we're at other people's houses, I like for the kids to recognize who made the meal and ask someone to be excused from the table. The kids aren't allowed to excuse themselves if they have already finished their food and other people have not finished. They need to sit and wait until everyone has finished their food, unless sometimes there is one kid who decides to take 2 hours to finish their food. Then we're like, you can definitely leave the table, because it's gonna take a while. I'm not gonna drag all my kids down to sit at the table just because one kid has not finished his pancakes yet. This is a good rule. My parents really, really were intense about this, and I loved it actually at our house. I found it to be really nice. I struggled when I would go to other people's houses, because it meant I had to recognize the adults that live there and then say thank you. And I was more shy growing up, for sure, but I would also use that to my advantage to be like, I don't have to say thank you because I'm shy. But my parents wouldn't let that slide, and I'm very glad for that. So waiting till everyone is done eating, saying thank you for the meal, and asking to be excused, that's what I expect from my kids. Hold on. I'm going to put this, oh man, the ground is so far down. Okay, here we go, almost there. Yes, I'm sweating now. I don't let the kids scream. There are kids that scream and I panic. I guess I grew up where the only time we were allowed to scream was when we were in full-on danger. Someone is touching us the way they shouldn't, someone is taking us, someone is scaring us, we are in a life-threatening situation. Screaming for us was the code word danger. It got attention, especially mom and dad's, and because we weren't allowed to just scream willy-nilly throughout the day, screaming was the ultimate emergency signal. I want to teach that to my kids, and I mean, I have a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 5-year-old. Sometimes they scream, but I am continually encouraging them and telling them, you're not allowed to scream unless you're in danger. And they know that. And I also realize sometimes they will get kind of scared or something will happen and their reaction is to scream. We encourage our kids to yell. Like, you're allowed to yell. You're allowed to go, ah! That's fine. But screaming, that is something that you use when you're in danger. And can we all just agree? Like, screaming's annoying anyways. So encouraging our kids just to not scream unless they're in danger, it's very nice for me. Next, my kids are not allowed to touch or use mine or Kieran's phones. They are not allowed to take our phones, play with them, find them as an entertainment source. This is for me and my benefit. It's usually work. I usually just work on my phone. And then Kieran's phone for him as well. I want to encourage the kids just to be respectful of other people's items, and I think a huge start is just saying, this is my phone. I use it for work. I don't use it for play. This is a good functional item. Just like painting your nails, one day you will be allowed to have one of these, but because it doesn't fully benefit you now in the stage you're at, my 2-year-old daughter, you are not allowed to touch it. And also they can create some issues. You can accidentally emergency call someone. You can send a photo to somebody. There's just certain things that I just don't feel like my kids need from my phone. There's certain things of the kids I know they don't like me to touch or put away or clean up, and that's their responsibility. So in the same way, my phone is my responsibility. Another thing I don't let my kids do is make me do everything for them. I do not let my kids not be capable of doing things. After a meal, they can clear their own dishes. If they need to get dressed, they know where their clothes are. If they have laundry, it goes in the laundry. My kids are really, really smart. They're very independent. My 2-year-old is so incredible for her age. I want to show my kids that I'm there to help them. And in a lot of ways, there are a ton of things that they can't do. So of course I'm going to do it, or I'm gonna get them to assist me in doing it because I think it's good for them. Honestly, they like it. It's kind of a challenge for them. It fully benefits them to have them help me in doing things that will benefit them in other ways. And that kind of goes with the next one, but I don't let my kids not have responsibilities just because their age or because of where they're at in a certain stage. Because I mean, ages can differ. Some things a 2-year-old can do that another 3-year-old can't do. So it depends on age and stage, but my kids still have responsibilities, like no matter what. But I have a 5-year-old, she has more responsibilities and we have more expectations of her because she's older. Our 3-year-old and our 2-year-old, they're very kind of much on the same level. They're different ages, but they're a very similar stage in a lot of ways, but they still have their own little set of responsibilities. I think kids are so capable, and I don't want to look at my kids as being like, oh, you're young, you can't do that. Something as simple as them putting away laundry, toys, clearing the table, wiping things down, even honestly, give them chores that don't really matter that much. I give my kids cloths and I'm like, start wiping things down. They'll wipe down the weirdest things. They'll wipe down walls and like doors. Like, they won't wipe down surfaces. They'll wipe down things like this. And it's not very beneficial for me per se. I literally had a kid wipe down my carpet. I don't need my carpet wiped down, but they looked at it going, I'm going to do something here, I'm going to fix something, and they did it. They were kept busy, and I still praise them no matter what they did, as long as they were doing something beneficial. Yeah, I don't look down on my kids because of their age or think, oh, they can't do that. There's so many things even a 2-year-old can do. You just gotta work with them and coach them. A lot of the time you gotta do it with them, kind of side by side, but I think that's good and that's gonna prepare them for later. Last one, this is so important. I do not let my kids get overscheduled. Now, my kids are still young. They're not at a point where they're all in school and they're all doing activities. They're still young, but they have still gone through stages where they could have become overscheduled. Kids that are overscheduled are moody for total good reason. They're tired, and if you're moody and tired, you're just in every other area, you're not gonna do really well, especially when you're little. So I make sure that I don't overschedule the kids in any way whatsoever. I make sure they still have downtime, they still have playtime, they still have time where they can just take care of themselves and relax. It's so important. And this is every single day. As they grow older, they will have more busy days, but it's still working with them to make sure that it's not too much and they're not overwhelmed, because I think overwhelmed kids, and there's a lot of them, struggle with a lot of things. So if we as parents just take the time to make sure that our kids' schedules are not really heavy and too much for them to handle, and we really put a lot of time and care into that and help them navigate their schedules, it's a huge blessing for them. And I also think in turn, it's a blessing for us too. Okay, so I'm gonna try to grab my coffee. Hold on. Okay, well, that was it. Thank you guys for watching. That's a bunch of things that I just don't let my kids do. Leave me a comment down below. Do you have anything that you don't let your kids do? I'd be really interested in reading that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.